Nothing but net.
Nothing but net. Episode 47. We are here.
We are here, ladies and gentlemen. Episode 47. Back here with another episode with my boy Dree, and we got our guy Big Mike on.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna have some fun. So let's get to it. So talk about free agency. We got news that DeAndre Ayton is back with the Suns. I was awfully shocked because I thought that the Pacers were gonna snatch him up, but he's back with the Suns now. They gave him a 4-year, $133 million max contract to be with the Suns, and Ayton is not eligible to be traded until January 15th. So we'll see how this plays out in the first half of the season. But what you guys think about that situation?
I figured the Suns were Indiana and the Pacers and Ayton's agent really put the pressure on Phoenix to have to match an offer. For the longest time, you were hearing that the Suns were reluctant on signing him to a long-term deal and things like that. You heard ruffles from Ayton's camp on, not getting touches and stuff. So they definitely put the pressure on Phoenix to not only sign him long-term, but keep him in Phoenix. And, with Indiana, that situation, they showed him he was really about to go there. And they put the pressure on him to re-sign him, because if you really want to be about something, you just locked in Devin Booker. Chris Paul is aging. You just can't get rid of someone like DeAndre Ayton like that, especially not at not only his size, but his age. He's so young and he's so skilled. The only problem with him is his size as far as his physicality and his strength is concerned. But other than that, pick and pop and certain ways you can get him the ball, you don't just find centers like him roaming around here. So I'm glad Phoenix kept him for their sake and to stay relevant and stuff. But it was very evident that they were getting ready to get rid of him or were going to be reluctant to let him go. And I wasn't surprised when they re-signed him, because guys like DeAndre Ayton don't just fall out of the sky. You got to keep someone like him.
Yeah, I actually agree, man. I was kind of surprised that he went back to Phoenix, because there were talks about him not being happy in Phoenix and him wanted to leave Phoenix. I thought he was going to Indiana too. I thought it was going to be a sign-in trade for him. I actually think that if Phoenix would have gotten Miles Turner, I think it would have been just as good, if not better, with Ayton, because me and Jeremy we agree that we feel like that Miles Turner is better than DeAndre Ayton. Okay. So yeah. But if they would have got Miles Turner, then they wouldn't have got Kevin Durant, or they'll try at least get Kevin Durant. Right. So,
well, they can't get him now either or. So.
Yeah, but I think at the last minute, Phoenix knew that if they lose Ayton, it would be a mistake. So they went ahead and gave made a deal, and he in Phoenix.
I don't believe Kevin Durant was ever going to Phoenix, because Brooklyn wanted at least Devin Booker back, and Phenix was never giving up Devin Booker.
And Booker plus signed the Supermax too, so you can't trade him until I think a full calendar year. But so Phoenix is pretty much out of it, because I'm sure that they don't want Jay Crowder or Mikal Bridges. You can't trade Ayton now. Booker's locked up.
Yep.
What you got? Unless they do a 3-team deal, but I doubt that happens. So I think Phoenix is out. Is out of the race now. So yeah. I always thought Phoenix would be a great team for him to be on, but I guess we won't see him now. So KD and Phoenix. So yeah.
I feel like that if DeAndre Ayton would have went somewhere, I thought Atlanta would be the best fit, because they got a good team over there. And besides, Phoenix would have got something back. They would have got probably Collins and Capella, for Ayton. So
that'd have been a dope trade. I never really thought about that trade too.
There's some picks, yeah.
Yeah,
I like that move, yeah. Yeah, because you imagine that Trae Young Ayton pick and roll, that'd be nice. You see what he's doing with Chris Paul. Imagine someone like Trae who could pull from where he could pull from.
Exactly. And too, they got DeJounte Murray, who's a dog on defense, and he can get his own shot. So
that was an interesting pickup.
Yeah. I like it too. It's a good fit.
Very,
It's
very good
yeah,
fit.
yeah. But you actually think about it, man. The Hawks lineup, they got a pretty good lineup.
Yeah, they actually do. Yeah, because they got Young, they got Murray. What are you gonna start? Bogdanovich? No, wait, no, Hunter. If Collins, I think the signs are pointing to Collins being back in Atlanta, which I think they should honestly try to keep John Collins. I don't know why you're trying, you're trying to trade him, but you got Collins and you got Clint Capella. Okay, okay, you got a little team right there. So,
Yeah, it depends on what they bench gonna look like. 'Cause they still,
oh yeah, well that bench is gonna be,
yeah.
that bench is gonna be, yeah. I mean, like,
Yeah, they
but
give
the
up.
Hawks can probably get like maybe the Hawks can probably be like a top five team next year, top 5, 6 team. Young, Murray, Hunter, if they keep Collins and Capella.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
Oh, it all depends on how they start, man. Because
All depends on how they
Atlanta, we know
start.
how they can finish the regular season, but they start off very slow, especially in the Trae Young era. So it all depends on how they start off. If they can start off well and finish the same way they've been doing, that's the key.
Speaking
Okay.
of this we on Kevin Durant. So what are your thoughts on like Kevin Durant? Reportedly wants out of Brooklyn and things of that
Um,
nature.
I'll start off. For me, I got this news at work. I was utterly shocked. Honestly, because I was watching I was watching Undisputed, and Shannon was like, "He's a runner. He's a track star. He won away." It's kind of true in some ways, but but for me, I was just shocked because I didn't expect that. I don't think none of us expected KD to request a trade after he signed a 4 year extension. I'm like, okay, so he may be in Brooklyn for like 4 or 5 years down the line, but him requesting trade, especially since he signed that max extension the year before, I'm like, I'm like, wow, like wow, especially like he's turning 34 in September, so and teams right now are very hesitant to give up players for him because of his age and of his durability, like stuff like that. Like we don't question his talent. Talent is never the issue with KD, but the durability part for the last couple of years of staying on the court is kind of why teams are hesitant to give up players, all stars, pick swaps, all that stuff. So yeah, I mean, like for me, I'm sure that we was already shocked by it, but I don't know if Kate's going to get traded at this point because like there's no there's no clear signs of where of which team is willing to give up assets for him. Like the Raptors were kind of the front runners, but they don't want to give up Scotty Barnes. If you want KD in Toronto, you got to give up Scotty Barnes, but they don't want to trade Scotty Barnes. So yeah, so it's pretty much up in the air right now. He may be in New Orleans. I don't know, probably Detroit. Bogus as hell they did to Detroit, but it's a question mark right now. But I think he'll probably be back next year, starting to look like it. So we'll see. Same thing with Kyrie too.
Um, this is it's funny you asked that question because it takes a lot. It's a lot to break down if you really think about it. Because when Kevin Durant signed that extension last year, James Harden and Kyrie Irving were still on the team. James Harden was. He signed that extension with the intent, with the idea, knowing that the following season, the Brooklyn Nets were going to take care of both of those guys as well, knowing that he wasn't going to be alone. So then obviously you have the situation where James is traded, so it's just him and Kyrie. And then you have a situation where the COVID thing happened, and Brooklyn Nets. They're at this point they're pretty much fed up with Kyrie Irving going into this offseason. And then they have a situation where they're almost done with Kyrie. They're pretty much done with Kai. And the reason why I'm bringing up Kyrie is because to answer the question about Kevin Durant requesting the trade, it has a lot to do with this Kyrie situation. Because Kyrie Irving is someone who the Brooklyn Nets are almost fed up with at this point. They almost don't want anything to do with him. And he opts into his contract on a Monday. And he doesn't tell the team. He tells one of the main media outlets. One of the few players I've ever heard, or probably the only player I've ever heard, opt into a contract and not inform the team. Then what does he do? Basically, what he's doing is that Thursday is the max deadline to get a deal. So once they saw that by that Thursday, once Kevin Durant saw that by that Thursday, they weren't going to give Kyrie Irving a long-term deal or even a short-term deal to extend him to a 2 or 3 more years. That's when Kevin Durant said, okay, I want out. In a way, he was showing his loyalty to Kyrie Irving because he was showing that, yeah, we still want to play together. Yeah, we still want to do our thing. But obviously, Brooklyn doesn't want him. They want almost nothing to do with him. They were shocked. When he opted into his contract, they were surprised.
Mm-hmm.
So, they came out the next day because they thought they were done. They thought he was going to the Lakers. He was going to take the trade, whatever the case may be. They thought he was done. So
because they want to do like signing trade options and stuff like that. But when Kyrie couldn't find a team, the only other thing he had to do was, opt in because Brooklyn was not going to pay him $246. They know, nah, we're not going to pay him $246.
Well, see, Brooklyn, but there's the thing. Brooklyn thought that he was going to opt out and not opt in. If he would have opted out, then he would have got traded to the Lakers for that 1 year, $6 million deal, but they would have gotten the max. They would have signed him long term and took care of him. But that would have hampered the Nets because his trade value would have been low because he only would have had $6 million on his contract. Mm-hmm. That would have hurt Kevin Durant. He wasn't going to do that to KD, who looked out for him and did the right thing by him the year before with the COVID situation. KD stood by Kyrie the whole way.
Right.
So he didn't want to do KD like that. So you had a situation where the Nets didn't, by the time that Thursday deadline hit for the Nets to sign him to that deal, that's when KD requested a trade because they didn't look out for his boy. They don't want Kyrie anymore. And that's where we stand right now. Right now, Kevin Durant, it doesn't. It's like you said, certain teams don't want to give up a whole lot for him. The Nets are using all the leverage that they have and asking for outrageous. I won't say outrageous, but a little over the top extra on top of what they could ask for. So,
and I saw what the Timberwolves even though this is when before Cat signed his extensions. I think the Nets wanted from the T-Wolves. They wanted Cat, they want Ant Edwards, and they wanted 4 first-round picks. And Brooklyn was like, hell no.
And then and then that Rudy Gobert situation too. He almost reset the market with that situation because with the Rudy Gobert thing, how many picks did the Jazz get back from Rudy Gobert? 5 first-round picks.
5.
If Rudy Gobert can get back 5 first-round picks,
imagine what Kevin Durant's going to get.
Imagine what. Come on now. It's not a surprise why the Nets are asking for all this extra.
You see what they're trying to do with Donovan Mitchell. So
they want the Knicks, because the Jazz wanted 6 first-round picks from the Knicks. Here's the thing, because the Jazz wanted from the Knicks, they wanted 6 first-round picks. They wanted Emmanuel Quickley, they wanted Quentin Grimes, and they wanted Obi Toppin. And the Knicks said nope. I'm surprised they asked for R.J. Barrett, but I guess they did him a favor, let them keep R.J. Barrett. But 6 first-round picks. I mean, if that's what it takes,
But yeah, on Kevin Durant, man, it was was I shocked about that he wanted to, trade? I mean, I knew it was at a matter of time that he was going to, probably do something because the way that the organization is treating Kyrie. But what the thing about it is how the media is how the media are. They like to, cause controversy, saying that maybe Kevin Durant is tired of Kyrie, his shenanigans. But you gotta understand, bro, KD's been loyal to Kyrie ever since this whole, like you said, the whole pandemic and stuff happened. And then with the mandate and stuff, all the times that people saying about Kyrie, saying that he left KD hanging and things like that, KD stood by Kyrie.
Yeah.
And all the times they was trying to put Kevin Durant against Kyrie, he still stuck by him. So, they still trying to do it now, and saying that's the reason why Kevin Durant wants out because he's tired of Kyrie's shenanigans, but which is not true. It's just that I think that KD and Kyrie don't trust the front office and Sean Marks and all those guys. So I don't know because when Sean Marks, I think when Sean Marks had that press conference about Kyrie, and when he said that players need to be 100% in, we already know that he was aiming at Kyrie. It wasn't in, but he was talking about.
That was a straight dish shot right there. That was a straight dish shot.
He was talking about Kyrie in general. So, But do I think that KD is getting traded? I doubt it because like you said, they're going to have to give up the whole farm to get KD. You know, so. But Kyrie, they still talking about him to the Lakers, so we don't know when. It's still on the table, so we don't know when that's going to happen. But I don't know. It's very unlikely. It's very impossible because I don't think it's going to happen to me.
You don't think so?
But Kyrie to the Lakers, I don't know, man, because it's like the Lakers, man. They don't want to give up those picks for some reason. They don't want
2027 and 2029.
LeBron
ain't got time for that.
You want me to tell you why?
Why?
The Brooklyn Nets won 2 picks for Kyrie along with THT and Russ. The Lakers do not want to give up the second pick because they want to use that second pick to get Buddy Hield.
Yeah, because that's what they said. They said they can't get Kyrie, they're gonna try to get Buddy Hield.
No, they want to get both. The Lakers know they messed up by not getting them the year before. Now they want to redo that and do it this year and get Buddy Hield and Kyrie. They don't care about giving up those 2 first-round picks. They just don't want to give them both up for one time with Kyrie.
Yeah, and they want to get Eric Gordon too, reportedly. So,
potentially him too. Yeah.
Yeah. So but yeah, that's just them. And too, like the Lakers they really don't want Russ. Like, I think what it was, man, I don't know why, but it's like I just feel like from the start, like they didn't want Russ, like because I think LeBron and them, I think they really wanted the DeRozan, right?
Yeah. No, LeBron wanted Russ. The front office, it was certain people in the front office that didn't want him. LeBron was one of the main ones pushing for Russ.
Okay, because it was like they were saying that.
I feel like LeBron wanted DeRozan more than
the organization, Pelinka and them wanted Buddy Hield initially.
Yeah. But hey, that's what happens. But yeah, I don't know, man. This whole thing is just like because KD haven't said anything of or haven't like posted anything like lately.
Neither one of them have. And that's the crazy thing about it. You hear all these narratives and you see all these topics and reportedly wants to do this. Neither one of them have really said anything. The only thing that Kevin Durant has said is on his Etc's podcast with Eddie Gonzalez, where he talked a little bit about Kyrie's free agent decision, but he talked about it in a manner of, the brother got to do what he got to do what's best for his family and for his business. A business at the end of the day, we still gonna be brothers. But that's along the lines of what he talked about. He didn't get into any intricacies or anything. He just kept it simple. But these guys haven't said anything, man.
Yeah, of course. But James Harden, man, you want to be honest, James Harden, man, he kind of he really gave up on his big 3 thing too early. I think he was impatient.
Way too early.
He was impatient with the whole, mandate and Kyrie not being back no time soon. I think if he would have stuck it out the rest of the season, I think this thing would have pulled off. But Harden wanted to be in Philly. It was no question because he wanted to be with Daryl Morey. I told you he wanted to be with Daryl Morey, who doesn't want to hold him accountable. So,
that James, Kyrie, because Kyrie, you got to know this how bad the Brooklyn Nets don't want Kyrie Irving, and they're actually it's a game of chess in a sense behind what they're doing behind the scenes, almost Monopoly in a sense. The Brooklyn Nets dropped their 2022-2023 season tickets online, and they didn't put Kyrie Irving in the picture. That was a mess up. So they had to go back and insert Kyrie into the picture to let the Lakers know and make it seem like to the Lakers we still want to keep him. Everybody knows that the Nets don't want Kyrie anymore. They want to be done with him, and everybody else in the league knows that the Lakers are right now the only bidders for him. The only team that showed any other type of interest was the Dallas Mavericks, because from a basketball standpoint, it makes a lot of sense. But Mark Cuban and those guys don't really want to deal with the shenanigans of Kyrie, quote unquote. So
you think about it too. So thinking about him going to LA is gonna be worse though. You think about if they're gonna if he do this type of stuff, you think the media is gonna let up off of him? No, he gonna have a field day, especially in LA, where a lot of expectations and all this type of stuff. So
what is the type of stuff that Kyrie does that rubs people wrong with?
Probably him not quote unquote not reporting the practice, or him not showing up to games on time or stuff like that. But you know how they just create these type of outlandish narratives because the media
just creating them. These last 3 years in basketball in general have been some of the most wackiest years in history. There's nothing that's been normal about these last 3 years of basketball. When you think about the bubble year, the year after the bubble, and then this past year with the COVID vaccination, everything has been all over the place. And most of the problem that people have with Kyrie Irving was societal problems that took place that it was out of his control. He couldn't control about the bubble situation. He couldn't control the fact that the city of New York forced players to take a vaccine in order to play. You know, all these what do you call it, ultimatums to do your job and things like that. These are unforced, unprecedented situations. And to me, looking at it from the grand scheme of things, I do feel like the Brooklyn Nets, in a sense, are jumping the gun and not looking at it in that sense, because I understand you might not like him personally, who he is, but what he does on the court, the fact that he doesn't have any trouble off the court, he doesn't get into any trouble. I don't believe I've ever heard of a situation where Kyrie Irving has gotten in off the court trouble. That's not what he does. This is someone who has a problem. People have a problem with his tweets, his problem with, stuff that he does offside of the court and things like that. Maybe the way he speaks or how he carries himself, his aura and stuff like that. That's really the main, when you get to the root of it, that's really the main problem people have with Kyrie Irving. It's really nothing outside of that. So in LA, in a new situation with LeBron and the Lakers organization with Phil Handy, with Derwin Ham at the lead, with guys like that, I just, if he was in LA, I don't see a situation where you would have those expedited problems, because you have a situation in LA where not only players on the court, but you have coaches and people in that office who know Kyrie and rock with Kyrie and actually would get a chance to get to know Kyrie. I don't think the Brooklyn Nets organization as a higher-ups actually took the time to get to know Kyrie.
Right. But the thing is, like, what's crazy, because it's like this whole time with the whole mandate going on, they didn't talk about how I think the mayor was supposed to lift the mandate earlier.
Yep, good point.
But the whole time they was blaming Kyrie because he didn't take the shot.
Good point.
And that was crazy to me, because I already knew that when it happened, I said Kyrie, they're gonna blame Kyrie for this whole thing. But it's crazy how come they let players who didn't get the vaccine come into New York and play, but they wouldn't let players who played for New York who did take the vaccine, they won't let them play, but they'll let people come in the arena and play who didn't get the vaccine. Because I think Bradley Beal didn't get the shot.
Bradley Beal didn't get the shot. Jonathan Isaac didn't get the shot. Andrew Wiggins didn't want to get the shot until he was forced to get it a week later.
But they forced him.
It was a lot of situations like that, man. And I'm glad you brought that up, because think about it. I don't believe people look at it from this perspective either. A lot of people say, "Oh, Kyrie ruined this franchise. Kyrie ruined everything this season by not sacrificing and taking the shot with the team and stuff like that." You can also make the legitimate argument that the Brooklyn Nets organization and the city of New York failed this team as well. Because when you think about it from this perspective, think about this. The reason why I say the Brooklyn Nets organization, because even though they had the mandate all during when the season started and stuff like that, they still allowed Kyrie, the NBA still allowed Kyrie Irving to play road games. The Brooklyn Nets were thinking about the right now, and they weren't thinking about the potential future. They weren't thinking about the fact that this mandate can easily be lifted at some point. So instead of having this man sit out for 5 months straight, why not have him at least play road games so that by the time they do lift the mandate, he'll be in much better game shape leading into the playoffs? They didn't do that. They said, "Oh, we want to sit him out. This, that, and third. He's either going to be all in or not at all." Yada yada. They let the media bombard him into that one.
Man, they was trying to make an example out of Kyrie.
Exactly. That goes into it. That goes into it a lot, because they were. It's an ego thing. It's a pride thing. They felt like Kyrie Irving would have been almost above them or above the organization by making that move and stuff like that. So they wanted to send a message in, a pride thing and stuff like that. But the reason,
that's his character. He's snobbish. He thinks higher. I mean,
he moves to the beat of his own drum. That's all it is. And the reason why I say the city of New York is because when the mandate was lifted for everybody, it wasn't lifted for Kyrie and the athletes. And that to me was a problem because think about the message that you're sending them from. Think about it from their perspective, from the players. From Kyrie, I'm literally watching fans go into the game. I'm literally watching everybody go to games. I'm literally watching officials, whatever the case may be, pull up to these games, and they can be in the arena, but I can't even be in the arena and play. Like, think about the message you're sending him saying that, which is why he strategically went to the game on the sideline against the Knicks when KD had 53 to show the world and the masses how ridiculous this rule is. So, and the only reason the rule got lifted was because the more than half of the New York Yankees and New York Mets players weren't vaccinated. And they weren't about to have a situation where two teams in New York City, two baseball teams in New York City, weren't about to have 4 teams out there on the court. So that's the main reason why they lifted it. Think about the message that sends to Kyrie Irving and KD. Yeah. And from their perspective, like, okay, you really know a city that you didn't even really have my back in the end of the day. That's just another perspective to throw out there.
And think about it too, like, most of the time, most of the fans is going to see Kyrie play. That's how it shows how, like, box office this guy is. Like, and then you take away from that, like, how you think that the fans feel like they going to games, paying their money to get tickets and going to see this man play, and then he don't play. So it's like, yeah, so you sending a message out there like they really don't care.
Yeah, they don't. And it shows, and it goes back to why it was so funny and a terrible chess move on the Nets part for not placing Kyrie on the season ticket thing, because if you're truly all in on Kyrie Irving, you would make sure that he's on the promo. He's one of the most box office players in the league. So you would make sure that, but that just lets you know how much they've done with him right now. And it's unfortunate because KD and Kyrie set out to do this together. And right now, because of these wacky 3 years, and I'm not saying Kyrie is completely blameless in this whole situation. Of course, there's always accountability that can be taken into place. But when you think about the entire spectrum of things, it's like, you know, what can the effect that people say, you know, that 2 weeks he sat out for the riot and 2 weeks this, that, and the third. Well, I say this. I don't believe he sat out 2 weeks for the riot. I believe that was just media smoke. I believe there was another personal situation that he was going through and he needed 2 weeks for, whether it was his son being born, having a home birth for his son, whether it was whatever the case.
That's the thing, bro. They did not bring that up in the media. They was talking, he comes to work when he wants to in the net, but they didn't talk about that he had a child that time.
Thank you. He literally had a home birth and a child.
It's a narrative because, you know, guys like Stephen A. Smith and all these other idiots who, especially with Stephen A. Smith, I think he has some type of personal vendetta against Kyrie or something, because it's like with this guy, you see how when he criticizes other players, he don't have that same passion that he does when it comes to Kyrie.
Stephen A., I feel like he has a problem with people that speak their own mind and people that don't, you know, don't just go with the flow of what everybody else is doing. You know, he's an outlier. Kyrie is an outlier in a lot of ways, and that's something that Stephen A. can't really get to. Stephen A. has told us plenty of times that he's a company man. He's someone who's all about the company and going to work and things like that. So I think the biggest problem that the media has is that Kyrie doesn't disclose a lot of information publicly. So because he doesn't disclose a lot of his personal information or a lot of the actions that he does publicly, it rubs certain people the wrong way. So it makes them, you know, it leaves the door open for people to throw out misconceptions and throw out different, you know, narratives and things like that. And Kyrie is the type of cat that he's not looking to dispel any of those perceptions or anything. He just wants to, you know, be him. Whatever you make of it is whatever you make of it. Like the whole riot situation we were talking about. It's another one of those situations, because even in the situation where, he missed those 2 weeks with the riot, quote unquote riot, and then another week and a half or some change. That was the same season that he averaged 27 points a game on a 50-40-90 and played 75% of the season, more than Kevin Durant and James Harden that season. I think more than every Net outside of Joe Harris maybe that year. So at the end of the day, the Brooklyn Nets weren't tripping about it because they knew what was going on for real. They just didn't tell the media. Nobody in the organization was tripping about it because they knew what Kyrie was, and he came back and contributed. It's not like he came back and that affected his game. No, he still was playing at a completely high level. So a lot of it is just misconception. And Stephen A. Smith took it to another level over the past about year or so. You know, it's one thing to report about sports, but it's another thing to get personal. And I feel like Stephen A. Smith has taken it personal a lot of different ways, and it's gone even further as we've gotten into the off season. You know, when Kyrie opted in and Stephen A. made that video basically calling him a peon and stuff like that, it's definitely gotten to another level. And you can see it's definitely two characters colliding against each other.
That's a fact. Yeah, that's a fact. But I think like with them two, it's like, especially like with Stephen A, it's like he picks and chooses who he want to really criticize, and it happened Kyrie to be one of them. But now he's the one that said that he never go outside of basketball. He never talk about people's characters. But when it comes to Kyrie, it's more than just basketball.
You can tell. It's obvious.
Yeah, when you start calling people selfish, that's attacking somebody's character, no matter how you put it.
Right.
Yep. So saying they ruin franchises and stuff like that. You know, and then I love Kyrie's response. You know, when he responded to Stephen A, he basically was like, "Yo, you know, in a sense, he was like, yo, I respect my elders in a sense. I'm not used to the energy you're giving, but I got a father and an uncle that's around your age, and they know you very well, and they can meet you on your level. They can meet you on your level a lot better than I can. And exactly. a lot of people, you know, in the mainstream, obviously, you know, ignorantly took that as, you know, a physical altercation potentially taking place. But that's not what Kyrie is saying. That just shows you how closed-minded they are, and also how easily they'll go to painting a certain narrative instead of actually painting the truth. Because Kyrie's mind, when you think about someone like Kyrie, it's very calculated. So he wouldn't go on social media at Stephen A. Smith, the biggest man on ESPN, and promote a fight or promote a physical altercation. That's just that makes no sense at all. So it just shows how closed-minded the mainstream media is.
They're very small-minded. You can tell.
That's all it is for real. That's how I look at it for real. I don't even when people tell me I have a situation where people tell me about Kyrie Irving. It's a lot of times where I'm talking to people about Kyrie and they sound just like Stephen A. Smith. And when they're literally regurgitating the same thing they say, I just okay.
You think what you want to think, man.
Yeah, man. At this point, because the narrative has already been set on him, so at this point, Kyrie knows anything that he comes out and says in defense of it, people already have their mind made up on his personality, on who they think he is already. So at this point, there's no point in trying to, change the minds of the masses or anything.
Like me and Jeremy had this debate about that. He said he said he wouldn't give up RJ Barrett for Donovan Mitchell. I'm like, he's a star. Like, why would you? Like,
I'm still.
What's your reason? Why would you keep RJ? I just want to know why. I'm not judging.
He said because of defense.
Right, especially in the playoffs too, because like you got Mitchell who can't guard a traffic cone. I'm not worried about them offensively with Mitchell, Brunson. I don't know. I don't know if they'll keep Fournier or not because he's been throwing around in trade rooms all over the place. I don't know if he'll be there next year, but let's say for instance that he's there next year. So like I'm not worried about them offensively. It's just defensively because like normally in today's game you don't see backcourts with guys who are like like two guys that are under. I think Brunson's 6'1", yeah, 6'1", and Mitchell 6'1", something like that. Like you don't see that in today's game now. Like two small guards as the backcourt. Like offensively, I'm not worried about that. Like it's just like it's just doing the playoffs. Like defensively, especially with Tibbs, we all know how Tibbs has been ever since those Bulls days. Like his coaching style defensively, and and you saw how terrible the Knicks were last year because the year before they were fourth in defense, and this year I think they dropped down to like 15 or 20. So now when you add Mitchell, who can't guard at all, and you put them next to Brunson, and you got Randall who can't really guard. You got Fournier who can't guard. So that's that's what I'm mainly concerned about, especially like during the playoffs too, because because like that's where it starts to become a little bit tighter, and the Knicks can't, like, no, I'm just worried about them defensively because that's especially the way Mitchell guards and you got Brunson. If you keep Randall can't guard, you got Fournier who can guard. So pretty much only guy that can really guard is pretty much Mitchell Robinson, but he's mostly paint oriented, so but we'll see. We'll see. That's why I kind of want to keep RJ because RJ is better defensively, but yeah, but I'm
Yeah,
50-50 about it right now. So
yeah, it definitely could be a valid move. And the reason why I would almost pull the trigger on it. I mean, I get why you would keep RJ, and I would almost lean towards keeping RJ too. But why? Like Mitchell is one of those guys where it's like his scoring, what he does offensively is so valuable, and what that would bring come playoff time would be special. And any defensive inefficiencies that he may have can be spelled for by the great rim protecting of not only Mitchell Robinson but the new guy they got from the Clippers as well, who I like a lot. So.
mm,
Um, in that culture, playing for that coach, I do believe Mitchell's defense would improve. I even believe Jalen Brunson would shock people as far as how underrated defensively he could be in this system. So um, I would definitely consider pulling the trigger if I was the Knicks. But I know they're gonna bring. To me they're gonna bring somebody else in. They're not gonna stop just at Jalen Brunson. Somebody else is coming to New
right,
York.
right, right. I feel like there are some of this least because like I'm sure like they didn't sign Brunson as their main guy. Like for the whole offseason. Like I'm sure that they're gonna pull off like pull off some big. So we'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see. Because of me, I thought that I thought that Miami would be more into the race for Donovan Mitchell, but Miami made the offer to Utah, but Utah said that's not enough. I'm like, wow, because they offered Tyler Hero, who they offered the Hero, Duncan Robinson. I'm like, damn. So even throwing in Tyler Hero doesn't move, doesn't intrigue you guys. So I guess Miami kind of backed off after what Utah did. But I would thought Miami would throw the best offer to Utah, but I guess not.
Yeah, when you're talking about a franchise player, man, you got teams are gonna want back a lot, and then when you got Rudy Gobert getting what he got, like I said earlier, man, other teams pay attention to that. Now they don't feel like what they're asking for is outrageous, and when you try to lowball them, they can feel that.
Bring it after the net.
Yeah, after the net. So I sent Dree this post this morning. So like, there's this video going all over Instagram talking about. So there was this dude and his girlfriend. So it was the girlfriend's birthday, but she bought 18 of her friends, and I think this was before dinner and everything. And she talked about how like she said, "Oh, you might as well pay for me and all my other girls' dinner." And dude was like what? And after that, like she broke up with him because like she said like I don't want no broke boy that can't pay for me and my girls. I'm like, see, like that's where I feel like the entitlement stuff comes in. Like this got to stop. Like just because you're meeting your friends, don't mean that he's gonna pay for all your meals. Like 18, 18 of y'all, especially with the drinks. Like not even the food itself. Like the drinks and no, y'all can miss me with that. But like they asked, would you pay for your girls' friends' food? And I said no, because I don't know them. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I just sat there and laughed. I'm like, brother, you just made the best choice of your life, cause nah, I'm not hell nah, hell nah,
In that situation, good for that brother. I'm glad he went. I'm glad he went through
nah.
that, got to see it firsthand, and he was able to step away righteously from the situation. He let nature take its course. It's good for him. Whenever you run into someone like that, you should always uh, choose yourself or choose the betterment of yourself over anything you might feel at the time. So good for that brother for making the decision. Would I pay for my girl's friends? dinner or whatever case may be, yes, I've done it before. However, a situation like that where it's a pop-up and I could see you trying to manipulate the situation and you trying to get over on somebody, not only would I not pay, but I just might make an example out of you in the situation. Just for trying to play with me I got stupid written on my forehead or something. It's just certain stuff you just don't even do. So it's good. It's good for that brother. It's good for that brother to make the decision he made not to pay, and also because even certain situations like that. Let's say, for example, he was a baller and he had it like that, and the tab was nothing, even if it was nothing to him.
Mm-hmm.
Me personally, I still wouldn't pay because of how she carried it. If she would have told me initially, or if it was done more organically and it felt right and the intent was good, then yeah, and I had it like that, yeah, why not? You know what I'm saying? We out here to have a good time. It was your birthday. We out here to have a good time. I know you want to have fun with your ladies. We know how carried away y'all can get sometimes with the drinks. But go ahead. It's on y'all. It's on me tonight. Y'all have a good time.
Okay.
The fact that you try to manipulate the situation, even if I got it like that, I still wouldn't pay because I got to send you a message that ain't cool. Because if I just go on and pay, you're gonna think that shit is cool. You're gonna think it is normal. We can't have that. You got to lay the law. You the man. You the man of the relationship. You the head of the household. You got to lay the law and let them know that's
exactly.
not flying.
I told you, Jeremy. This is I see why with Kevin Samuels, RP with Cameron Samuels because, bro.
I'm glad you brought him up.
This man said the same thing the whole time, and this man got criticized, and you got people celebrating his death because he spoke his own truth, and this is the example of what he was saying, because that right there is like of a situation where you can be easily taken advantage of, because if you keep on letting a person doing that type of stuff, they're going to get comfortable with that. You know what I'm saying? So if it was me in that situation, like, I'm not doing that. I'll pay for yours, but they gonna have to pay for their own stuff because they not, because even like you said, even if you was like had money, you had it like that, I'm still not, because they gonna look at me every time when something go down and look at me to pay for all their stuff. Like, no, because like one time you do something, people gonna get comfortable. So
and Steven Jackson had the perfect response. He talking about how like you only get some money. You only get some money. Steven Jackson like
all you gotta do is hit him with one line. All you gotta do is hit him back with their line. I'm independent. I don't need a man. I can take care of my own. That's all you gotta hit him with.
But you know what's crazy? We talked about this last a few episodes ago. Me and Jeremy about that whole thing, bro. But like I said, man, ain't no cat that good for me to be doing that. I'm sorry. It's not. Like, I'm not gonna be like paying for you and plus 18 of your friends. Like, come on now.
Steven Jackson had a perfect response to that. I'm like, yep. He spoke the truth, bro.
Like, if it's right, it gotta be 18. It gotta be 18 righteous friends too. Like, I'm not talking about friends that somebody you just met,
exactly,
or plus one friends that you probably never even met. I'm talking about if it's 8. I'm talking about if it's really 18 righteous friends, and I know they really your friends. I've been with you for a while, and I know that these friends really in your corner. Then it would feel more genuine. But this plus the extra and all that, that's when it's like, I ain't with all that. They don't even feel right at that point.
Exactly. Most of the time, most of them women, they vibrations is all the way down anyway. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I do that, but yeah, this was the perfect example of what Kevin Samuels was talking about. Like,
yeah, I'm so glad you brought up Kevin Samuels, because to me, Kevin Samuels was the perfect example of how clickbait and narrative sell. Because anybody that knows anything about Kevin Samuels pre-narratives, Kevin Samuels had a platform strictly for men.
Facts.
Strictly for men.
Facts.
The only time when he started to get heavy traction was when women started tuning in. And women didn't start tuning in to him till when? COVID hit. People were in the house, people were bored. So Kevin Samuels' name came up. And it was a situation where women were coming to him looking for his advice. He wasn't seeking out these women. They were coming to him because some women actually wanted to either adhere to the knowledge that he was given, or they wanted to challenge him on his perspectives, or a combination of both. So so when you see those, when you see those videos or just talking about, and narratives talking about, oh, he's attacks women, this, that, and the third, it's so funny to me because that wasn't his lane. That wasn't what he was about at all. That's the complete opposite. In fact, all those women that he quote unquote attacked seeked out for his advice. And we don't talk nearly enough at all about the relationships he actually built. There are actually women and men, but women making videos on social media saying how much I'm married because of Kevin Samuels. I have a family because of Kevin Samuels. The advice that he gave me.
Exactly.
The negativity sells, the drama sells. So that's what he was quote unquote known for. And it was so bad that you have people, I'll say it, Carrie Champion. Carrie Champion, if y'all didn't see it, gave a phenomenal interview on I Am an Athlete. But she slipped up in this one segment right here, where she brought up Kevin Samuels. She brought up Kevin Samuels in a negative light because she said that Kevin Samuels was someone that he was hurt, or someone that he was just to paraphrase or basically put it in her own words, someone who he wasn't good for the culture in a sense. So they asked him about it. I think Pac-Man or somebody asked him, "Did you ever watch him?" She said, "No, I would never put that on my spirit." So you're talking about a man that you never watched, and you don't want to put him on your spirit because of something that your girlfriends may have told you, or something that your girls behind closed doors, when y'all had your conversations, told you about him, that they may have just seen off clickbait.
Exactly.
That's all it was narratives and clickbait. That's what they knew Kevin Samuel was, and he was much more than that. And he didn't just hold women accountable; he held men accountable as well. Yes. They don't talk about the fact about what he was saying about those broke ass men that just sit on the couch and not doing nothing for themselves. Those no good brothers. He talked about them too. He talked about everybody, but they didn't bring that up. So it's a shame when you really hear people speak negative about him, and then not even really just speak negative about him, because people are going to speak negative about you regardless of whatever the case may be. But it's a shame that people were so narrow-minded as to run with the narratives without doing their own homework and just run with everything. But it goes back to, the emotions and everything. But it's even more sad because he held everybody accountable, and to celebrate his death, that actually speaks more to the individual you are than to your feelings of Kevin Samuels. Because I don't care how bad you feel about somebody's perspective, or how bad you feel about, or how you may disagree with somebody's opinion. To celebrate somebody's death, that speaks to you. That doesn't speak to anything about the other person. That's on you. So to me, Kevin Samuels is someone who should be celebrated more than he was vilified. And I'm just on this platform. I just wanted to take that moment to give him his flowers, because I just saw on that regard. We didn't have to agree with everything Kevin Samuels said to know that he had good intentions. Right. So that salute to him and his family and everything like that. But I just wanted to say that and give him his flowers in that regard.
I agree, man. Like, cause it's just crazy because, like, and the crazy thing is, people will talk about, he was on the men harder than he was on the women.
Much more.
But because,
and it should be.
Exactly, because controversy sells, of course it's going to gravitate towards the women.
Mm-hmm.
But, and the crazy thing is, it's like he spoke his truth. Yeah. It's like, it might have been the way he was saying it. But it's like, I'll put it to you like this. I'll give you an analogy. It's like, his stuff was like a medicine that was nasty. Like, you don't want to take it, but it works. You see what I'm saying?
It works, don't it?
But like, they don't. But yeah, like, they'll talk about, that he might say to a woman, "Yeah, you lazy, you need to work," but they don't show when women tell you, Kevin Samuels changed my life. His advice changed my life, but they don't talk about that. But most of these women out here dancing to men calling them bitches and all this and all y'all hoes. But as soon as a man tell you lazy, need to work, he hates women. that's the crazy thing. But you celebrate a man's death because he spoke his truth. The thing is, like with women, bro, they don't like the truth. It's like they want to hear the truth, but like when it comes to the truth, they don't want to hear it and they don't want to accept the truth. And it's like, it's some women out there that don't. Now I'm not saying all of them, but it's most of them are. But it's like with Kevin Simmons, he was just like speaking like from a man's perspective how men don't. If he was with a woman, a man not gonna like this. He's not gonna accept this. It wasn't that he was just like bashing women like how the media was creating it. That's why I was like, it's crazy how his death was celebrated by all these people. And most of the time they didn't even like watch his stuff. They were just hearing it from
others.
Yeah, from other people.
Those are the worst ones that just run with what they hear with.
And that's just crazy. That's like I said, man, just show you how small-minded people are and don't actually think for themselves and go from within. They just hear. They don't question everything they hear. They just believe everything what they hear.
And some of them don't want to take the outlier approach. Listen, man, when you obtain knowledge yourself and you become of a certain ilk, and you start to tap into your own frequency and mind, that can be lonely at times. And some people don't want to jump out there with their perspectives. That's just, and they don't want to be the lone wolf in a sense with their ideologies and their groups or the people they hang around or the people they're influenced by and stuff like that. So it's an uncomfortable spot, but you have to really be secure within yourself to step out there and really believe what you believe in. I don't think a lot of people have gotten there yet.
Yeah, they had not been taught that either. They have been, people been, programmed, to not do that. So.
Oh yeah, big time.
And
there's so many forces out here.
It's for the people who celebrate his death and saying all these things. It just shows what type of person you are.
Yeah, that's it. That's all.
It just shows you that you're not the one, that you're not on your shit. Like he's basically talking about you. And it's like, it's basically making his point, like proving his point. So
the quick small topic. So Samindri was talking about this child support. So my question is, when a person is paying child support, do you think all that money is invested in the child, or do you think that money is going to funding that person's lifestyle? Because you see because I've seen child support payments of over like $200,000, $300,000. I'm like, here's the thing: does a child really need $300,000 a month just to just to have like basic needs like food, water, transportation, shelter, all that? Like $300,000 is a lot of money for, let's say had a child's like five let's say had a child like 5 years old. Like, does the child really need $300,000 a month to have food, water, transportation, education, all that? I'm like, so once all that's taken care of, where's the rest of the money going to? You know what I'm saying? So I asked my question, do you think all the money is going towards the child, or do you think some of it is going towards the child, but the rest of it is pretty much on the beneficiary? So what do you guys think?
I do believe it's a combination of both. It depends on the integrity and morality of the parent. For real. And to be honest with you, to kind of backtrack in a sense, child support in itself is a scam already. So the intent of child support never, to me, in a grand scheme of things, isn't to support the child. It's more so to get the wealth out of the man. And what I mean by that is this: for child support, although child support is not just put on men, there are some women out there in this world that are put on child support.
Yes.
To me, I've always believed that child support, it has been a scam and a ploy to get the wealth and money out of the man's pocket and put it into the woman's pocket, because we know the woman majority in this world are the majority spenders in this world. If we put more money into the woman's pockets, that means more money coming back to us, because women tend to spend a lot of money. That's just natural. So that's always been my perspective on it. I always thought child support was a scam from the jump. I've always felt that way. Is because of the outrageous numbers that are requested based on the income of the brother. The brother could be making $5 million per year, because he's worth that much per year, that salary that he has to pay for child support is different than that brother who has to work a 9 to 5 and is on the it makes what 28, 30, 50, maybe $100,000 a year. It's a whole different ball game. So it's based on your income and things like that. But the whole setup of it is a scam. That's why it's always good to know who you laying down with and having a baby with. It's always good to know who your partner is and be righteous with it, because you can have an own system within yourselves as human beings, just naturally on the same page with co-parenting, doing your thing. But that's usually where the problem comes in, when the co-parenting doesn't work and the communication isn't there. That's when they feel like they have to get the courts and take it into the state's hands. And usually those states and counties don't have the father's best interest at heart. So I've always felt like child support has been a scam to me. But as far as to answer your question, it really is a combination of both, because of the amount of money that they give. It's almost inevitable to believe that in most cases it's going to be a combination of both, and sometimes it might even be a combination of one of the other, meaning majority of it going to the kid, or majority of it not going to the kid and they barely see a dime of it. You know, there's situations of both. It really depends on the integrity and morality of the parent.
It's pretty much the type of person you lay down with, because sometimes most of the time, you know, you have a baby with a person that has no morals whatsoever, and they'll do anything to try to, especially like hurt the father. So when they come up with these astronomical numbers, you can tell like that person does not have no morals or no integrity whatsoever. So yeah, it depends on who you be with. But
certain people, even if they get that money, they haven't even been financially taught to be able to take care of or to what to do with having all that money. So you throwing someone who in that situation who doesn't even know what they're doing and just getting it. So if someone's never seen that amount of money before,
right?
And they have enough money to take care of the kid, and they know they have some money on the side for themselves, what do you think they're gonna do? You know,
especially like on a monthly basis too. Like especially on a monthly basis too. Like getting payments of $200,000 a month. I'm like, damn, like $200K a month, like just to take care of a child, and then the rest is yours to go splurge and everything. And while the person's over there busting their ass like just to make this money, you over here just having the time of your life, and that brother struggling, just like what I'm saying, just trying to keep the payments up. But like I think it's a complete scam, because I don't think a person needs $500
it would behoove you to invest in that child, because in the long run it will all make sense, because you almost have a situation where you can get back at the system in a sense, because it's like you get a certain amount of money, you invest in that child. Over time, whatever you invested in, whether it's obviously trust funds, whatever the case may be, or just other. If you already got businesses going, you putting certain stuff in his name already that's going to build over time. I'm telling you, man, if you really put that money into your child, you set up a situation where generational wealth is going to land right in his hand as soon as he graduates college, or as soon as he graduates high school, gets out of high school and goes into a trade, or whatever the case may be. Whatever, he can have the pick of the litter. He or she can have the pick of the litter options for all your kids, and when they get to a certain age. And if you really invest that money right that you get from child support and put it into the child, then at the end of the day, there'll be no bad blood, because at least the father or the other parent will know that, okay, yeah, I had to give all this money, but look where it went. So it'll feel worth it in a sense. So, I mean, it really just depends who's righteous in that, man.
We're gonna wrap it up here. Episode 47. Dree, Big Mike. See y'all next week. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Dree.
I'm Big Mike.
And we are out of here.